Breakfast will read maps, stand on my doormat, attack stop, in fact, invite, insight, sit down, what's that?
Hey everybody, Steven here, and today I have a video review for you for the Vapor Glove 3s. These are from Merrell. Now, these are minimal shoes. I've done a couple reviews for some other minimal shoes. I've done the Vivo Barefoot, which is actually what I have on right now, and the New Balance Minimus. Wanted to branch out and continue to try different brands and see kind of the best ones that are out there. And between the two, I really do like these. They're kind of an in-between between the Vivo Barefoot and the New Balance Minimus, where the Vivo Barefoot are like really, really thin with the sole of it, which is, this is the Stealth Vivo Barefoot, and the New Balance Minimus is a little bit thicker. This is a nice in-between for both of those shoes. Now, I got these off Amazon for $80. I like the fact that they are a little bit cheaper, not necessarily with, like, the build's decent, I'm gonna get into that in a second, but compared to the other two. The Vivo Barefoot here, these run $160 to $240. If you can find a good pair on eBay, I definitely recommend that, and these are very, very durable shoes. I love the Vivo Barefoot just because they last a long time. But let's go ahead and get into the pros with this shoe. So they fit great, they feel really, really good, they're super comfortable. I didn't have any problems with the sizing with that. Looking on Amazon, it gives you like what's the percentage that this is the exact fit when you choose a size. It's like 62%. These, and what I got these in the 10.5s, and that's what I wear, and these fit great. I love these as far as the fit goes, right? Really, really comfortable. They're super flexible, meaning when I look at, because this is a zero drop shoe, and I'll get into that more here in a second, you can roll this shoe all the way up, right? That's what I like to see in my minimal shoes. I can do the same thing with the Vivo Barefoot here, but that's what I like to see when I'm looking at a minimal shoe. Does it have a zero drop, meaning that it isn't an elevated heel like you see with a regular shoe, right? So because it's zero drop, that's where it's mimicking the minimal footwear, where it's more like you're going barefoot, right? There's a little bit of thickness to this, right? As far as the sole is concerned, so it's not paper thin, right? You want to protect the foot, but it doesn't have that raised heel. Now, with that, why that's really, really important, I've gone in a discussion with this in the other videos, is that when I elevate that heel, I'm actually pitching my body forward. Of course, I don't stand leaning forward. I end up kind of tilting my hips and changing how my back's oriented to pull my body back into alignment. Think about it like this, because that's actually elevated, you're walking down a downhill slope constantly. If anybody's run down a hill, you know how much shear force that puts on the knees, and you're kind of repetitively doing that just while you're walking, right, to a small degree. It's not that it's really, really harsh with every single step. We're talking about the stacking long term with that, right? So super important that you slowly progress towards minimal footwear. A lot of people go from wearing raised heel shoes, they learn a little bit about the importance of going barefoot and wearing minimal footwear, and they immediately switch over, and then their foot hurts because they've essentially, I think of the raised heel shoe because it's so boxed in, it's kind of like a cast around the foot. And because of that, it actually makes the foot a little bit weaker over time. It's like if I wore a cast on my arm here, and it's me just taking off the cast, and now I'm going to go arm wrestle people and do a whole bunch of push-ups and bench press and all these other things. It's most likely going to hurt, right? We don't want to do that. Slow progression. The good news is there's some other versions of the Merrell minimal shoes that have a little bit thicker heels. They're a little bit more raised so that you can progress through that. If you don't want to do that, I definitely recommend looking at the New Balance Minimus. That's a good shoe. That's a good kind of in-between because it does have a slight raised heel where it's a little bit thicker on the back end. I can still roll it up though, right? So that would be a good precursor to either these Vapor gloves or even the Vivo Barefoot here. So really, really important. I'm going to put some links for some books and information that you can find from Katie Bowman, who's a biomechanist that deals, her restorative exercise program deals with this. That's where a lot of my information comes from. Super knowledgeable, and she actually did her thesis for I can't remember if it was her master's or not, but she did her thesis on why switching to minimal footwear is so important. So very, very smart lady. And she has books specifically on your feet. So this is great. I do MoveNat, parkour. So MoveNat is natural movement. Parkour, if anybody's seen people jumping building to building, that's not all that parkour is about, but kind of urban street movement stuff, right? So we do that. I walk in this. I train people in this. I train myself at the gym, lifting like regular weights and doing regular type of lifting routines. I've gone hiking in these. If you wait till the end of the video, I'm actually going to put in a couple of my jumping videos so you can see some of the movement stuff that I do in these, because I definitely push my shoes to the limit with this stuff. They're really, really great for the parkour and the MoveNat and all that other stuff. If you're not used to it, the hiking might be a little bit too much because these are so minimal on the bottom. You are going to feel some of those rocks or roots or whatever the terrain may have. You're going to feel some of that on the foot, and if you're not used to it, it can be highly uncomfortable at first. I've progressed to the point where, unless it's crazy extreme, which would hurt my foot even if I had a regular shoe on, right? Maybe it's poking through that. That's really just what I feel now. Everything else feels okay to me. I do running in these. If you're not used to that either and you constantly run on concrete, that might not be the best for that. So really the hiking or the running might be an issue. So if you're looking for a brand new running shoe and you don't do trail running and you're really just running on concrete, they might not be for you. So those are really some of the pros. Like I said, inexpensive, 80 bucks. They are so lightweight, which is what I love. I don't like a thick, clunky shoe on, right? Like a boot or something like that, because then it's just pulling on the rest of my system, right? It's pulling on the knees and the hips and all these other things. Some of the cons with this, though, and the big one for me is that they wear down really easy. I've had these for 4 months now. I already have a hole on the side here. I'm getting some patches, and slowly I'm starting to get some holes on the side here. But with that, it really has to do with the style of movement that I do. You see me, I'm in a kneeling position here. With some of the MoveNat flow drills that we do, my foot's on the ground now. I'm rolling it out, pulling it up, rolling it back down, and tucking it. My foot's dragging on the ground the whole time, right? Climbing trees, right? Doing my jumping stuff outside. All of that is going to have a huge impact on this. So although they wear down quickly, that really has to do with my level of movement. If you're not doing the same ground flow stuff and you're moving on the ground a lot, climbing trees, doing parkour, stuff like that, that shouldn't really be an issue for you. Now, if you're a runner or hiker and you still want to get these, that might be an issue, right? Because you're going to put these through the paces a little bit more. Day-to-day wear, I'm doing a workout at the gym, I'm wearing them to work, I'm maybe doing a little bit of outdoor type training, wearing them, maybe doing yard work or something like that, that might not wear down as quick as it has for me. But they're not the fastest worn down shoe that I've got. Nikes for me wear down. When I used to wear raised heel shoes, I used to go through those every 2 months and I just couldn't afford it, so I had to find something else back when I was wearing those style of shoes. But I'm surprised they made it as long, because the fabric is light, but it's super thin right here, right? You drop something on your foot, unfortunately, there's not a lot of protection for that. Keep that in mind as well. And the other thing with that, I mean, that's really my biggest complaint, is the wear down. The other thing with that is just there's a limited selection of colors, right? And that might not be a big issue for a lot of people. They got black. I went with the red just to change it up, just because most of my shoes are darker in color, right? So I wanted to switch it up a little bit. But they only have a handful of styles, and some of them, are, in my opinion, aren't the best looking colors for something. They're the crazy, crazy bright, and these are pretty bright. They're almost like a neon color or something like that, or it's just a pairing that I wouldn't want for a shoe. Orange and gray and stuff like this. So that's really the cons for me, is just the breakdown. Other than that, this is a phenomenal shoe, but I want you to think about what's the intent of what you're doing with the shoe, right? Like I said, running or hiking or something like that, maybe think about what level you're expecting out of the shoes, right? If you're a high performer, maybe not something that you're going to get. You're going to run through these shoes really, really quick. Day-to-day type stuff, I love these shoes, okay? So think about the intent, and then I would kind of navigate through that to decide whether or not these are the shoe for me. They have a Vapor Glove 1, a 2. I went with the 3 just because it's the newest one. One of the complaints with some of the original ones, the 1 and the 2, is that you would get a hole or this would tear away. where the toe is. And I have the problem with that with some other shoes that I've worn before. I'm getting a slight hole right here, but it's not honestly bad. It's not anything to be concerned about with this. They've performed fine for me. I do like that it actually wraps around to cover that as well. So that shouldn't be a huge concern for a lot of people. But like I said, if you're working around heavy machinery or something, or maybe it's a concern you might drop a weight at the gym on your foot, might not be for you because these are so thin on the top there. So who are these shoes really for? Anybody that wants to do some movement, that loves minimal shoes, that wants something lightweight, zero drop, that feels very, very comfortable, kind of like putting on socks, to be honest. It feels really, really comfortable. That's going to do movement, but maybe not an extreme amount of movement, or they're not going to be sitting on their shoes like I do for long periods of time, or moving on the ground with them as well. Or maybe is doing natural movement or something like that and really doesn't want to go barefoot all the time in those circumstances. Walking, they're phenomenal. I would say, like I said, think about it if you're going to be doing hiking or running or something like that. That might be something that you got to make that decision on, just because you're going to put them through the paces and they might wear down quicker than you want. So I'm going to put a link for these shoes in the description box for you guys so you can look at that. If you like the video, hit the like button for me if you want to continue to follow along with all the different things that I cover, whether that's shoe reviews, supplement reviews, medical exercise, MoveNat workouts, corrective exercise stuff. I'm a medical exercise specialist, so we look at that as well. Hit the subscribe button for me so you continue to follow along with that. And check out these videos right after this so you can kind of see some of the jumping stuff that I do with these, so you can kind of see the level of performance that I do get out of these Vapor Glove 3s. Thanks for watching.